Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me good? All right. So somebody replied saying, okay, great. Thank you so very much. So we're going to be starting the next few minutes while we allow other people to join us. And at that time, I will be on mute. And while I also try to put one or two things together and get set up for that, it's going to be in a few minutes. Thank you for joining. So if you're just joining, we're going to be starting the next few minutes. Uh, we're just waiting for other people to join us, and then we're going to get started. So I believe it's okay for us to get started. If you can hear me, just say, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Thank you so very much. Now, the PowerPoint is not agreeing to uh, to go live yet, but I think we're just going to go the old school way in which you're all going to see all the slide deck, because I won't have much time to start troubleshooting that while we are right here. So again, thank everyone for joining this webinar today. And today we have very, very important thing to go through. And then we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic that I believe everyone is interested in, and that is the field of cybersecurity. So before we actually dial into talking about all these things, I want to consider it very, very important for us to go through very, very important thing. We have 2 hours together today, Thursday, and every Monday we're going to be meeting on this channel to have the discussion about transitioning into the field of cybersecurity. Today is the first day of 8 contact days that we're going to be having. This will be the one of the most expedited webinar or training that we usually organize all year round. And this will be our 4th cohort in this year, 2023. So which means Proven Academy had done 3 previous cohort training this year. Yeah, I believe it's 3. Yeah, and this is the 4th one. The previous one are taken 8 weeks, which means once a week. But this particular one is going to be expedited, in which we're going to be meeting twice every week, Thursdays and Monday. And then, which may by Monday, October 30th, we're going to be wrapping everything up. However, before we even take the first step or any step in any direction that we wish to go, one thing I want you to understand is that whenever you want to transition into a new career, especially the field of cybersecurity, okay, there are 2 major things that I believe you need to have at the back of your mind, okay? The first thing I want you to have at the back of your mind whenever you want to transition into this field especially is that you want to set your expectations right. You want to set your expectations right. And what do I mean by setting your expectations right is that you want to understand where you are going, and then you also want to understand what you need to get there. If you can set these 2 things right, I mean, getting to your destination will be a walkover. It could be likened to somebody that's trying to go to a particular destination. You have a destination in mind. That's the very first thing. Before you set out at all, number one, you have a destination in mind. So, and then you check if you have what it takes or how long it will take you to get to your destination. And that's not different from you transitioning into the field of cybersecurity. You want to understand the destination, what it entails, and also what you need to get there. Now that we've understood that, just in case today is your first day of joining this webinar, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for joining. And if you are one of our returning students, guess what? You are also welcome here. Now, if it's your first time meeting me, my name is Kayode Oshilaja. Okay, I have over 15 years experience in the field of cybersecurity. And this cut across every aspect of cybersecurity. I've had an immense opportunity to work for different organizations in United States, especially. I've had the privilege of working for NASA. I've had the privilege of working for Social Security Administration. I've had the privilege of working for big firm, big tech firm like Microsoft and all those big fours, and all in the capacity of cybersecurity. And I trust that every experience that I've gathered, working in this field, as well as my educational background, I've put everything together to guide people into the field of cybersecurity. And through our guidance, we've been able to mentor a lot of people from non-IT role into the field of cybersecurity. And I trust that you are going to be one of our own testimony, as we progress. Okay. So now talking about that, I'll put that aside. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be getting from this webinar. Now, because we have 2 hours for today, I want us to talk about two things. We talk about the webinar, and also we're going to take the first module, which is introductions to computer technology. Okay, so I want us to combine the two presentations, and I want to see how fast we can go. You might see me skip some slide deck. It's simply because I do not want to emphasize much on those aspects. However, the full detail about most of our previous webinars, you have access to them if you do not have access to them already, but they will be shared with you at the end of the day. Okay, so in this webinar today, we want to talk about, number one, what you need to get to where you are going. Also, we want to understand what is it about our destination? What does it entail? What does cybersecurity actually entails? Right? You want to have a better understanding of what's coming into this career will mean for you, what you will become at the end of the whole thing. So those are the things that we want to quickly touch on before we dive into the first presentation. And just like that getting to a destination begins with you. It begins with where you are, it begins with what you have, and it begins with what you can afford. Okay? So I remember that particular adage that says that a journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step, right? But I've rewritten, that particular adage by saying that the journey of 1,000 miles begin with the first step in the right direction. And that is, being in the right direction, heading in the right way is the first step. It's not just taking steps that mean progress. Okay, it is taking steps in the right direction that means you are progressing. So the first step, okay, the journey of 1,000 miles to a reasonable destination begin with the first step in the right direction. So setting your expectation right, like we said, you want to know the destination and if you have enough fuel, okay, driver that will take you to that destination. So talking about what you need, to get to your destination, if coming to cybersecurity is what you want to do, is what you want to get into, two things. Number one, your skill set and the mindset. Now, let me start with the skill set. When we talk about skill set, we are talking about the skills and the abilities that you need, okay, to apply to function in that area that you feel that you want to work at, right? So that's the skill set. And when you talk about this skill set, it's everywhere. I mean, you see a lot of people advertising different kind of training everywhere. All these are talking about skill set, right? All you need to do is you pay for those skills, you acquire the skills, and then it is yours. But most importantly, your mindset is the major requirement. There are 1001 reasons why you want to transition even into the field of cybersecurity. To give you an example, number one, if you're a foreigner coming into a new terrain, into a new geographical area, and now you've probably built a career around something big. You've been so established previously in your area of field or in your field before coming into this country, but you now found that you find yourself in a new terrain, in a new geographical area, and you found that suddenly that what you spent 20 years on studying or doing does not even count. Now, that sets a kind of fear and trepidation, and you begin to think, how am I going to survive? And am I going to start from the scratch? What do I need to do? Probably somebody told you, yeah, coming into cybersecurity will be the next thing for you. And now you are here. Okay? That may be one of the reasons why you find yourself here. Another thing is probably what you're doing is not giving you enough that you will consider as revenue, or probably what you are doing is insulting your intelligence, such as you are employed but you are underemployed. That is, what you are doing, and when you look at your capacity, you find that you have so much capacity than what you are doing. Okay, so which means you are underemployed. What you are doing there, we have what we call knowledge gap or discrepancies between what you are currently doing and what you have the ability to do. Now you're looking for an opportunity to change your career. I have found myself in that particular area before, in which I came into United States with degree from two different countries. And I found out that, yes, America is a land of never too late, right? That land of so many opportunities. And when I found myself without guide, without mentor, without anything, I was just, as it were, called groping in darkness, hopping from one career, one job, odd job to another, trying to make ends meet. And doing all of those things, I never got the satisfactions that I desired until I set my expectations right. Okay? So I want to challenge you today to set your expectations right. So now, talking about changing your career, your mindset is important. The first thing I want you to know, right, is that it is not much about what you will get paid if you have cybersecurity skill set. Now you see people saying you can get 6-figure within certain number of days. They are real, but some of them might be overhyped. And when you come in with that expectation and with that mindset, right? And nobody has the job to offer you. All they have to offer you is skill sets. And if you do not have the right mindset that will match that skill set, you will find that it might take you longer than they have promised you to get to that place, if you ever get there. So your mindset is very, very important. That's what we are trying to emphasize. You need, and when we talk about your mindset, we are talking about the way you think that affect the way you behave. Every career have their own challenge or challenges as well. Now, there might be some time that you face some challenges, some delays, some missed opportunities and things like that that kind of come your way during those times. What do you do? How do you handle pressure at that time? That is mindset. So your mindset needs to be that kind of mindset that is rugged, right? That is determined that I will give it whatever it takes to get to wherever I want to get to. Now, getting to where you desire to get to, you see the reason why it starts from you. You can pay to acquire skill sets, but you cannot pay to have the right mindset. So that's why we say you can only cultivate the right mindset while you acquire the skill set. So I can identify with everyone that you want to change this career, but please, it is not about 6 figure, it is not about 10 figures that you get when you have this skill, but first and foremost, have the growth mindset, that is an ability to learn more and defy all odds to ensure that you get to where you are going. That is the first thing I want you to have. Because if you have that right mindset, no matter what skill set that you pay for, you will definitely excel. He said, nothing will be restrained from this one which they have imagined to do. So talking about your imagination, your mindset, the way you think, that affect the way you behave. I want to emphasize on that. So any other thing that I will say is going to be built on the fact that you have the right mindset. Okay? So let's go after it. Now that we have taken care of that, we all know that success is the goal of everyone. Anything that you want to do, you want to be successful in that aspect, because it is the longing and the constant search, right, for success that has created that vacuum in us to desire to do more, for more knowledge, for more training, and irrespective of how much you have, whether you have the money or you do not have the money, still have the right mindset, that kind of thing. So success, so until the skill set and the mindset marry each other, success might not be experienced, right? So I'm going to skip this video about this lady. I'm going to share that one separately with everyone. Just make sure you drop your email. I believe if you register, we already have your email. We can share you share with you some of these videos and the slide deck as well for you to reference. Now, let's take those ones aside. Let's talk about this cybersecurity mentoring program, these skill sets that you want to come in and acquire. Okay, let's talk about it and see what is a need for you. Now we are focusing on your destination. We've taken care if you have the right skill set or the energy to get to your destination. Now let's talk about the destination. So we want to talk about so many things, right? And we talk about what is cybersecurity, what is a need for you if you have those skill sets, what are those domains, what are the career paths, how much are they even paying. Okay, I'm going to show you a few of those things to substantiate most of the things that I will be telling you, so as to let you know that I am not blabbing, right? I love facts, I present facts, and so that you all are going to have the right thing. So the definition of everything is the starting point. Okay. What about cybersecurity skills? I see people running helter skelter everywhere talking about cybersecurity. That is why I am here. What is it even about this cybersecurity skill? What do I stand? What do I become if I acquire this skill? Now, number one, just be certain that when you have cybersecurity skills, right, you you can work anywhere without cybersecurity degree. You don't need a degree to work in cybersecurity field. That's number one. You can work in any industry if you have these cybersecurity skills. If any industry they have even one computer, right, and they connect this computer to the internet, they need you as cybersecurity expert. So any industry at all, whether federal government or state government or local government or even commercial sector, health sector, financial sector, they need the skills of a cybersecurity personnel. So that kind of give birth to so many jobs for everyone. You need to go to a nursing school, for example, to become a nurse. And the only sector you can work primarily will be health sector. But now, for somebody that do not have a degree, but you have the skill set of cybersecurity skill, find out that you are not restricted to working in a particular sector, but to work in all the sectors that you can even think about. And when you have these skills, the compensation, yeah, is very great, right? And also the work-life balance is very flexible. And that being said, it means that you have access to so many job opportunities, right? But now, cybersecurity, what is cybersecurity itself? Now, the definition of cybersecurity is many things to many people, but it cannot be completed without mentioning the aspect of protecting data or protecting systems or networks. So, however way we want to define it, right? Whether we say it's the practice of protecting data in any form from unauthorized access, modification, or deletion, or it's a technique of preventing system, network programs, and application from digital attacks. However way we want to define cybersecurity, it is not complete without talking about protection, without talking about data or probably systems, right? And now, just to quickly tidy up that one before we proceed, we know you have computer system or anything, any information system. And when we talk about information system, as you later find out, is anything that has the capability of storing, processing, or transmitting information. That is an information system. So any information system that can store information, that can process information or transmit information needs to be protected. Okay? It needs to be protected because it contains what we call hack value, which is data. The hackers, the malicious people all over, they are looking for data. They want to harvest people's data because that is a gold mine. So if they can have access to data, they can do wonders. They can rule the world, actually, right? So cybersecurity has to do with protecting data in any form, whether it is stored or whether it is transmitted or whether it is in use, right? It must be protected. Now, I've had a lot of people come to me and say, hey, I am working in this field. I like this job that I am doing, but I think cybersecurity is something that people are talking about. Can I do it part-time? No, as in I do my main gig, and then I just have cybersecurity as my second gig that I can do part-time whenever I have time. I've been in this field for quite some time. And I will tell you, number one, for free, that cybersecurity is a career. It is not a job. And when we talk about a job, we are talking about something that is limited. It has limited you. It doesn't have so much skill sets, to do it, right? You don't need so much skill set, right? If you want to be driving, and every is available for everyone. Job is available for everyone, but career, you have to determine. It has to place a demand on your time, on your money, on your effort to acquire a career. So when we talk about cybersecurity, it is a career, it is not a job, right? Because you need some specialized skill sets to function in that field. Okay. Now, this thing called cybersecurity, it is very broad. It's very, very broad. And I will tell you that. And still talks about our destination, right? It's like you find yourself in the midst of a desert. Everywhere you turn to looks like the right way to go. But you find that you need a navigator, right, to be able to navigate yourself to where you believe you want to get to, right? So coming into the field of cybersecurity, it's like finding yourself in a desert place where everywhere you face promises a future. But what future do you want will depend on the kind of skill set that you have. If you are somebody that loves coding or programming and you come into the field of cybersecurity, there is a job for you. If you are somebody that is coming from the, let's say, you have the medical background, actually, you come into the field of cybersecurity, there is a job for you. Whichever field of expertise that you are currently, there is a job for you. And that's why we say there are transferable skills, okay, or opportunity for people to transfer their current skill set into the field of cybersecurity. So coming into the field, you see, it is very, very broad, right? I can't even go through. This is just like an abbreviated version of different opportunities that we have in the field of cybersecurity. However, to make it simple for us, I will tell you that cybersecurity could be perceived from three main perspectives. That's number one, we have the compliance, we have the operation, and also we have the cloud security. Now, in no particular order, but I love to talk about compliance, as the last one. Now, the operation talks about the people that have certain skill sets like coding, programming. You want to read code, you know about programming, all those good stuff, right? Linux, they are the threat hunter, or they can code anything. Those skill sets thrive in operation side of cybersecurity, right? Those are the people that focus more on so many programming and coding skills. Now, the cloud security, they are like a twin brother to operation, because you still need some basic requirements like Linux, coding, and all those good stuff to still thrive in the cloud security. But when we talk about the compliance, let's even for a minute talk about what is compliance. Compliance means that you comply. Now, thinking about complying, it means that there must be a rules or regulation somewhere that you are trying to conform to, right? That is what it is. The compliance, they understand the rules, the regulation that guides different organizations, and they are advising those organizations based on the regulation that is guiding them, and they begin to review or audit or assess those organizations based on what rules or regulation that is guiding them. So they are enforcing compliance, they are advising organizations. So in that case, I haven't talked about coding, I've not talked about programming, because they are not emphasized, they are not skills that are emphasized when we are talking about compliance. That is, this is what you ought to do, this is what you say you are doing. Now let's weigh both of them. Are you complying? Are you following what this instruction says you should not do or you should do? If there is any discrepancy or if there is any deviation from what is expected of you to do, then there is a finding. Okay? So that's the main job of compliance. It's is one of those cybersecurity fields that require less technical skills. You've heard about the GRC analyst, governance, risk, and compliance analyst. That's what GRC stands for. You've heard about the roles like IT audit. You've heard the role of cybersecurity compliance analyst. You heard the likes of security assessor, right? Information system security officers. All these fall under the compliance side of cybersecurity. So which means anyone, if you want to come into the field of cybersecurity and you don't have those coding programming skill, don't think that there is no opportunity for you. A safe landing for you would be a compliance site. And guess what? Even the operation, the cloud security, they are still answering to the compliance. Take, for example, the person that is coding anything, whatever you are doing, you still need the approval of the compliance people before you can run that code in that environment. If they find that your code does not meet the requirement, it's not gonna fly. So you are still like the boss to every aspect or every sector or the domain in the field of cybersecurity. So there are more opportunities in the compliance role, and then it doesn't require so much skill set to function in that field. How cool is that? Okay, so which means I am somebody, this is what I do. In fact, I've not even touched computer for so many years, and I'm just trying to pick up my skills in how to even turn on my computer. Now, compliance could be a safe landing for that kind of person if you have the right mindset. Okay? Now, because of so many demands in the field of cybersecurity and shortage in cybersecurity is becoming very, very obvious. So, as a matter of fact, I think if I get my facts right, by 2030, which means in the next 7 years, if there are no more people or less people coming into the field of cybersecurity, or probably we are not hiring, or training people to acquire the skill sets required to function in the field of cybersecurity, we are going to be confronted with over 1.3 million shortage of opportunities in the field of cybersecurity. So that's why many organizations, what they are looking for is for anyone that can come into the field of cybersecurity with the experience. okay, with the skill set. And that is why Proven Academy is very passionate about training people, about setting your expectations right when you are coming into the field of cybersecurity, and then making sure that you get there. That's why we are passionate. And we have been in this training path for more than 8 years. So we've trained a lot of people, and that they migrated from non-IT roles into the field of cybersecurity. Now, how do we address shortage in cybersecurity? All you need to do, okay, is to train, identify the right training, pay for the training, subject yourself, have the right mindset, focus on that training, and learn about that skill. Okay, learn about it, learn about that job, and choose the right mentor, somebody that will guide you into the field. And with you having the right mindset, you are not far from the job market. That's the most important thing. Now, let me show us quickly, just to substantiate most of the things that I talked about with regards to shortage in cybersecurity and all those good stuff. I will go to a website called CyberSeek. Even from the name, you know, it said we are seeking for cyber people. Cyberseek.org. This is more of a tool that the federal government is using to monitor the opportunities in the field of cybersecurity, and to measure the rate at which people are getting into the field of cybersecurity, and also mapping it against the job that is actually advertised. Now, let me show you the first thing that's called the interactive map. This interactive map shows us the map of United States with different states represented, right? Now, you see that each state they are color coded. It has nothing to do with the political um, uh, uh, map. This is job opportunity map. Now, what you see is that those states that have this deep blue color, okay, they have more cybersecurity job openings. And also the states that are almost white in color, they still have some opportunity, but the number of opportunities are just different. Okay, so now when you look at it at the national level, you see that we are still at 69% talking about the supply versus the demand. Okay, that is the opportunity that is out there, and the rate at which people are grabbing the job is still very low. Is still very low nationally, right? And even if you pick a particular state, my favorite state, Texas, right? That says you are at least around 70%, which is 1% above the national average, right? In terms of the supply to demand ratio. And then the total number of job opening in Texas is almost 60,000. And these are statistics that they can actually grab. Some of them, they are not even recorded, which means all these are just like the estimated number. They are far way more than this. Okay, so that's to give us a little bit of information about the shortage in the field of cybersecurity. Now, another thing I want us to also talk about is talking about the career pathway. Now, for a compliance analyst, okay, that went for a boot camp, with the training that you have acquired, you are not starting actually at the entry level, you are starting at the mid level. Okay. Now, if you enroll for the training, you'll be able to understand the what I mean by what I'm saying. Okay. But just to kind of address some of those things, to put everything in perspective, if you're starting at the mid-level, a cybersecurity analyst, currently the average salary is 107,000, almost 108,000 per annum. Okay, that's for a cybersecurity analyst. Or if you're a consultant, that would be about 93,000, but you are not going to be anything. I don't want you to actually look at the vulnerability tester, because that is more of the operation side of cybersecurity. Now, when we say the average, it means that the average, basically. So which means it could be more than that, because majority of organization, one of the ways that they have discovered of keeping their best is to pay them more than the average. Okay. So I've seen people that their first job in cybersecurity, they are earning 150,000. The first job, straight from the street to cybersecurity. How many of them? I cannot count, right? That straight from the streets into the field, they are starting them off with 150,000, some 135,000, so many people, right? So now let's do a little bit of mathematics. Okay, let me pull up my calculator and let's do a little bit of math. If my math is right, we have 52 hours, 52 weeks in a year, right? And every cybersecurity people, you work 40 hours a week. Now, 40 times 52 in terms of hours, you are working 2,080 hours every year. Now, if you are working 2,080 hours every year and you are getting paid 108,000, right? 108,000 per annum, how much are you earning per hour? It means that 108,000 divided by 2080, it gives you about $52 per hour. So, which means at the average level, a cybersecurity analyst is going to be earning about 52 hours, $52 per hour. Okay? So I don't know how much you're earning right now. Maybe you are earning more and you feel this would be an insult on you. But now, which means per week, you're going to be earning about 2,077. And every month, if you multiply that by 2, it's about 4,000 plus. That is the average. Oh, no, 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 no. This is for 2 weeks, right? Let's multiply this by 2, right? That means that every month you are earning about $8,000 every month. That is at the average level. So to answer your question about how much am I going to be getting paid if I finish this training, or how much is cybersecurity analyst earning? Minimum of 8,000 per month or minimum of 108,000 per annum. Okay. Now, I believe that is fair. If you have any question, please feel free to post your question in the chat room. Later, I'm going to get to the chat room and then I will answer any question that you may have. Okay, so we've talked about the shortage in cybersecurity, but now let's talk about, I'm not going to talk about certification, but the only thing I will say about certification is this. Certification is not the same as training in the field of cybersecurity. And this is the way I love to explain it. Many of us, or many people that went to school, maybe you become uh, an engineer or a doctor or whichever career that you have chosen. You went through the school for 4 years, 2 years, or 3 years, however long it took you, right? After you did your final exam, you now took a certification in the area that you want to focus on. So, which means in the order of priority, having the general knowledge about the field came before certification. Okay, so you need to know about cybersecurity, and that is what this bootcamp is going to offer you, giving you knowledge, specific information that you need in that field. And now, when you know what that is, it will be easier for you to know, okay, which certification do I need to have? So, certification training is different from the career focused training. That is important for me to establish for you. Some people will say, okay, what certification am I getting after this training? The only certification you're going to be getting will be certificate of completion. That is, you successfully subjected yourself to this rigorous training of 8 weeks, and now this is what you got, right? But when it has to do with you searching for a job, that certification of completion has nothing. It doesn't even fly anywhere. You need the real certification in some area of specialization to actually prove your competence. Okay, so now we have different certification that we can talk about in the field of cybersecurity. If you look at this particular one, information security, that's your career path. Okay, and you see that there are so many certification that is categorized into beginner, intermediate, and advanced experts. Now, first thing I want to say is that none of this certification is a prerequisite for another. You can take any of this certification at any time. But when it has to do with you wanting to choose certification, I will still say that again along the line. I will mention just 4 certification that you should be thinking about taking. The first one is Security Plus, CompTIA Security Plus. If you want to write, you can put that one down. CompTIA Security Plus. Think about CISA, Certified Information Security Auditor, or CISM, which is Certified Information Security Manager, or CISSP. CISSP will be the last one I want you to have at the back of your mind, but Security Plus is or CISA is the minimum certification that you need if you want to transition into the field of cybersecurity. While I'm talking about this, do I need a certification before I get the first job? Yes and no. And the reason why I say yes and no is this. Now, some organization, they want to hire you on the job and give you time to produce certification. Well, there are some that we say, okay, you need to have this certification before you get on the job. Now, the way you can get by the letter is that you can put on your resume that I am working on Security Plus, I'm working on CISA, is in progress. Put it on your resume. Let them see that you are working on that one. Now, it will not be up to them to determine that you are ready, that they want to hire you. Okay, so, but do I need certification? Yes, along the line you will need certification. Do I need it to before I get the job? Yes and no. And I've been able to clarify that question. And if you still have further question, please post in the chat room. I will attend to your question from that point. Now, let's proceed. The next thing we want to talk about now is like My goal is that after I finish this training is for me to get a job. Then what are the things that the employer are looking for? What are they looking for in me? If they want to hire me, then what are they looking for, right? Now, one thing I will tell you is not different from you, okay? If you want to repair your car, you look for a mechanic, somebody who has the expertise of repairing the car. You don't look for somebody that look like a mechanic. Probably he has a shop. Probably he have the knowledge about the brand of the car, and that's the person you want to hire to repair the car. So also, the employer want to hire people that have experience. And now, where do I get this marketable experience? Bootcamp. This bootcamp will offer you the hands-on experience that you need to take your career to the higher level. Okay, so in this bootcamp, we're going to emphasize the experience that you need. In fact, we're going to zoom into some of those experience and get your hands dirty and talk to you about how you can actually acquire those experience and market it, right? Now, the second thing is that they're going to give you job description. Now, what I do tell people is this. I'm going to spend a few minutes on that. If you want to transition into this field, this will be an assignment for you. Okay. I mentioned GRC analyst. You can write it down. I mentioned ISSO, security control assessor, all IT security compliance analysts, or those things. Just pick one of them, maybe GRC analyst. Go and do your research. What are the skills that is required if I want to be a GRC analyst? Search. You can get a minimum of 10 skills or 20 skills that you need to become a GRC analyst, for example. And now, once you make a list of all these things, come for the training. When you come for the training, you are now listening to the training. You want to learn about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these skills. Show me how, because these are the skills that I need to get to where I am going, right? So that's why the employer, they're going to tell you what they're looking for. We want somebody that will make the blind to see, the lame to walk, the deaf to hear, and these are the people that we need. Now, the next question for me is that how do I acquire these skills? Now, when you acquire the skill, you put it on your resume and you document that, yes, you have these skills. If the job description that they put out there matches what you have, you are not far from the job market. So, like I said, pick this up as an assignment. You are not submitting to anybody. Go and research into the skills that is required for any compliance analyst. What are the roles of a compliance analyst? Pick one of those. Do an extensive research on those skills that is required. If you come into the training, learn those skills or pay attention to those skills that is being taught, put it on your resume, apply for those jobs. You are not far from the job market. Your resume can be ready even before the first day of the training, so that you are attending the training with an end goal in mind. And remember, we are talking about a destination and what is required to get there. Experience is required, and to get there also, you need to have the skill sets that is required to get there. Another thing is skills, right? We've talked about that. If you can read and write, you are required. You need basic IT knowledge. right? What is computer? What is IT? What is database? What is server? What is router? What is IP? What is you have a lot of what is that you want to learn, those basic things, right? You need it. And that is what we're also going to talk about in this bootcamp training. Okay. Now, talking about this bootcamp training, we're going to start off with basic IT knowledge. In fact, the first two modules, we should be able to touch on the first module that talks about what is computer technology. We're just going to knock that one out of the way today, right? So, to give you a little bit of information about IT. And the next week, the next meeting, we're going to talk about the networking side of the whole thing. And then we go
Hello?
on. Hello, Jerry. Are you trying to ask a question, Jerry? Okay. I guess probably just an open mic. All right, so let's continue. So the most important thing is that you have the right skill set. So we talk about the basic IT knowledge. We talk about onboarding yourself into the cybersecurity, those terms, and then we dive deep into other things that we feel until we get to the end uh, of the entire training. Okay, Jerry, your mic is up. Are you trying to ask a question? I don't want to ignore your question. Do you have any question for us? All right. Thank you for muting back. So whenever I see the mic off, I assume the person wants to ask question, and I don't want to ignore that. All right. So you need to have certification and education. Now, one thing I want to say about education, education has evolved beyond the four walls of college or university that we may call it, right? It has gone past all of those. No, education could mean you just search on YouTube and you ask for what is Saba, for example, and you pick a 10-minute training that just show you or demonstrate to you what is database, how to configure a database. You just acquire an education, right? Whatever is shown to you in that video, you've learned it. And what do you do when you go to school? To go and learn. So you can acquire learning anywhere, everywhere. It has evolved past many of the universities. So if you say, I do not have education, or the education that I have seems to be in home economics, that's what I have, my this agricultural science. What has that got to do with IT? It doesn't matter. The most important thing, we've talked about it, your mindset, okay, and your willingness to learn something new. To learn something new needs to be emphasized above anything else. Okay, so that is important. So, how do I acquire the skills? Very simple. The training will be your starting point. Once you get the training, you acquire the experience that is required, the how to, what to, and when to, right? During the training, that help you to have a better understanding of the roles that you want to apply for, and you package those experience that you acquired during the training in a resume. And once you put that in the resume, then you look for the position and you apply to those positions. Okay, you make sure that your resume matches the job description, and then you apply to that position. They weigh it side by side. They see that, oh, your resume aligned with the job description. You are invited for an interview, which is the step 4. Once you get invited for the interview, God be on your side, you get hired. Okay, so acquiring the skill begins with training. You cannot outgrow the need of training when you want to transition into the field of cybersecurity. The training will be your starting point in everything. Okay. And of course, we've talked about it. Coming into the cybersecurity field is a career. So, which means it's going to place a demand on you learning more, opening, opportunity to do something, to learn something new, to practice something new, to change your culture, probably your sleeping pattern, sleeping time, right? You want to come into that place with a strong dedication. You also need support system. You want to surround yourself with people that will take you to where you're going, right? You want to invest in learning something that you've never learned before. You need to acquire skills, right? Certification, we talked about it. What certification does is that it emphasizes uh your com your competence in the field, but education only endorses your experience. So you need the combination of both of them, and I've already emphasized those things that that are important when you're thinking about education and certification. And most importantly, above all things else, patience. You need patience. Everything grows and mature well when it is nurtured in the hands of patience. You cannot outgrow that need of patience. Now, I like to give you this analogy. Your journey to the market, okay, is determined by your proximity to that market, right? If you agree with me, just do thumbs up or something, right? Your journey to the market is determined by your proximity to the market. So what that means is that if coming into the field of cybersecurity, right, is your market, that is what you want to be, that is where you want to get to. How far are you from getting to that field? Or how close are you to getting there? And when we are talking about this proximity in terms of your knowledge and experience, okay, how much of the information do you need to get there? How fast can you move? Can you drive to get there? We're still talking about the driving force to propel you from where you are to the job market, right? So that's very, very important. So nobody has the right to tell you, and I'm not lying to you. If anybody is marketing to you that, yeah, come for my training, and in 10 days you will get a job, run fast, because nobody will determine when you get to the job market. You will be the one that will determine that. Now, I'm just trying to restrict myself from just getting very pissed off, because I've seen a lot of fellow trainers. That's the way they market their thing. Oh, in 10 days, 20 days, 40 days. Even if you want to prepare for a certification, it will not take you, if you are reading every day, it will still take you minimum of 1 month, right? How do you think that somebody that doesn't know so much about IT just got to learn about IT, and then you're telling the person in 2 weeks is going to get a job? How much of that experience has he learned in by together? I am not saying it is not possible. I've seen situation whereby my student, before she finishes the training, We were 2 weeks from finishing 8 weeks training. She landed a job. I've seen somebody 2 weeks after the training, she landed a job. I've seen people within 6 months, they landed a job. I've seen people 4 months, they landed the job. And I've also seen people 1 year before they got the job. What do they have in common? Or what's the difference between both of them? How much they are ready to learn, their mindset, their state of mind. The lady that got a job 2 weeks before, I asked her, how did, even myself, it still surprised me, right? How did you get that? She said, every day, as in every day, 8 a.m. till 4 p.m., all she was doing was applying for job, because she was already taught how to put the resume together. You see the way I challenge you to say, get your resume ready, make sure you have understanding of the skill set before you even come for the training. It's not even about your money, it's about what you want to achieve when you pay for the training, right? That's what she did. She already had the goal in mind. When she come for the training, she will be the one asking the most questions. So to make sure that, okay, this thing that I want to achieve, am I getting it? Okay, yes. Now that I've gotten it, I put my resume together. She launched out. Every day, she was sending, almost 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 resume. It got to a point she was actually getting she got about 2 or 3 offers back to back. All right. So now, patience is what I'm trying to emphasize. When you are coming for this training, it's not about the 8 weeks. It's not about the money that you pay for the training. It's about, are you mentally ready? Okay. If not, you need to get yourself there. It is very, very important. And as you do so, I believe that you will get to where you are going to. And then at the end of it all, you will have the full testimony to share. All right. So let me tell you more about the curriculum, because we have already designed a curriculum, things that we need to learn every week. So you are coming into the training session every meeting day to learn something new and to also apply something new. Number one, the week one, we talk about the information security part one, then part two follows cybersecurity fundamental and responsibilities, roles and responsibility. We'll talk about all of those things. We'll talk about the risk management framework. Okay, we talk about everything that is associated with that, including cloud computing, vulnerability management. We talk about resume, right? Resume will focus on, we will show you what makes a good resume and what makes a bad resume. We make you practice that, we review that, and then you'll be launched out. So those are the things that this training is promising to give to you, and even more than what we have actually listed. We're going to give you hands-on experience on certain roles in the field of cybersecurity. Like I said, we're going to be focusing more on the compliance side of cybersecurity. We look at different roles in those fields, right? And then okay, if I want to become this particular person, let's look at those roles, and then we focus on those experiences that will make it real to you, and that you can confidently market yourself as an SME in that field. So that's what we're going to be talking about. Now, let me switch to the chat room to see if I have any question. Okay. Okay. Somebody said, can you please say that one more time? I think talking about the certification to get the first job. I think, did I capture that right, sir, I don't want to mention your name because I see that you sent it directly to me. If I capture that right, that let me know. So you need or you do not need certification, but know that you will need certification at one point. So to get the first job, you may get, you may need a certification or you may not need, but it's important for you to be working towards certification and also make sure that that is also okay, that is also emphasized in your own preparation. All right. I see that there are no much questions, but do I have any live question here? Anybody that have any question to ask me um, before we go into the second presentation, which is information security part one? Any question? If there is none, guess what? I'll just say that I think I did a good job. Okay. Somebody, do you know anything about certified in cybersecurity? Okay, is that talking about the certification? I know about the certification that talks about certification in cybersecurity. Yeah, that's one of those certification by the ISC square, right? It's called cybersecurity certification or something like that. It's one of those new certification. So I believe that answers your question. Okay, if it was regular class, right, I would say we should go for 10-minute break, but I think we can still do like, let's do about 10-minute break as well. The next presentation on the uh, cybersecurity information to introduction to computer technology is going to be a short one. So I believe I can do that within 40 minutes, but let's still go for a short 10-minute break, right? Let me pull out the clock to so that we know that we are going to be time conscious, right? So let's go for our 10-minute break and then we'll come back at 8:28 p.m. Central Time or 9:28 p.m. Eastern Time, and depending on your time zone, the next 10 minutes. Thank you all for listening. All right, we'll be back soon. So welcome back, everyone. If you are back, just say uh-huh, uh-huh. Awesome. Thank you so very much. Okay, so I think we got a question here. So with all this downsizing going on in the tech sector, what's the job prospect for someone trying to make a career change into tech? Now, you have higher chances. No one is going to despise anyone that have the right skill set that is highly needed in the field. So I'm trying to pull up a particular byte defender or something. I believe that's what that thing is. I want to just show you something real quick.com. If I can remember, threats map is like a threat map. Just to substantiate what I told you, live threat map. Okay, that should be this one. All right. This is not one of those ones that I'm very familiar with, but it's similar, right? So look at what you have on my screen, okay? This is a live threat map, right? We're talking about things that are currently going on as we are seated here talking. It shows different countries of the world, different continents, and how they are being attacked, how they are attacking each other. If I was able to pull up the other one that talks about the other things, that gave us a little more closure with regards to that. So let me see if I can pull up, that's the live threat map. I'm looking for one by the, not blipping. Okay, not to waste much of our time. So this shows that the need, you say top targeted countries. This is right. I would love to get the one that's like, I think it's on Byte Defender. I think so. ByteDefender.com. Okay, this looks a bit better now, right? It's another threat map, right? There are so many of them that are kind of monitoring the threat that is ongoing. Now, what we see is that you see different countries, how they are kind of attacking each other. And then let's see the legends. The red shows the attack, infection is yellow, and then spam is white, right? You have a lot of spam, infection, and attack going on. Now, on this side, on the right-hand side of your screen, you see where it says location. Talks about the country that is being attacked most. In the order of the attack is United States. And also, you look further, today, Thursday 5th at this time, the attack that is being carried on, the country that is attacking which country, you see all of those things. So which means which country want to downsize when you have need of people to defend your organization. So whatever downsizing that may be going on, right, in anywhere, when it comes to tech, what they are just simply trying to do is that they really do not have budgets. So they want some people to work more than what they are capable of. So in that at that particular time, what they want to emphasize is your skill set. So that's why I say that in this field, the need for skill sets is always going to be prioritized. Okay, so very, very important. I hope I'm able to answer your question. Right, there are still tons of position. Okay, It's constantly evolving and compliance cut across all of them. Thank you, admin, for responding to that. All right. So, talking about that, I'm going to go ahead and close this. Now, let's talk about the first thing. We did mention that having the basic knowledge of IT is the starting point of coming into the field of cybersecurity. So, now, starting with what is computer, right? Because there is nothing you're going to do without the information system anyway. So when we say what is computer, the computer is a digital device that can be programmed to process information from one form to another. And it's a digital device that does exactly as it's been told. That is, it's a programming that is running behind that computer that is making, all those calculation and input, converting it to binary codes, and that's what we are seeing on the screen. So the two main language that computer understand is zeros and one, off or on, right? That's why it is called binary. Okay. Now, talking about the types of computer based on their traditional use, right? We have those ones that are called supercomputer. We have the mainframe computer, and also we have the personal computer. So, not dwelling too much on all of those ones, but because the main one that we want to actually focus on is the PC, personal computer. However, before the modern age of personal computer, we've had the mainframe, we've had the supercomputer. A supercomputer currently is still in vogue, is still being used. Okay, that's the computer that processes that have the very, very supersonic processing power. Okay, how do we know that an hurricane is forming somewhere? How are they able to calculate the speed of the hurricane? How are they able to now locate where it is forming in real time, and they are reporting that? How are they able to tell us when it was going to rain and all those good stuff? So we have the meteorologist, right? They make use of supercomputer to tell us the real-time event that is going on. And the kind of computer that would be able to do that is not going to be one of those computers on which you browse Yahoo or Google Gmail, right? It's going to be computer that have very fast uh, processing power. An example of that is the Cray computer, the one that we are seeing on our computer on our screen, right, is used in the Cray research, and it's still the same type of computer that the NASA they are using, okay, to carry out their all all these tasks that they are carrying out, able to monitor what is going on in the space while they are still communicating in the mission center right here on Earth. So that's supercomputer. Then we also have the mainframe computer. That's the one, the primitive one, the one that we were using at that time, that bulky looking thing. Okay. Uh, some of them are still in use right now, but they are very, very expensive. They are bulky, and they still perform some task, but that won't be much of our focus. But the most important one that we want to actually focus on is the personal computer. Okay, this personal computer, now many of us, you just think about your laptop and forget about it. Yeah, that's personal computer, no doubt about it. Desktop, yes, that's personal computer. But we've not thought much about our own personal phone. It's also a personal computer. You've not talked about your own wristwatch, your Fitbit smartwatch, right? It's also a personal computer. And the characteristics of a personal computer is that it is small, self-contained, it has its own CPU as well, that is born on a motherboard, right? and that makes it easier to process, store, or transmit information. Okay, so still talking about personal computer. Now, when we talk about computer generally, it's made up of two major components. We have the hardware and also the software. We have the one that you can see and touch, that is hardware, because it is hard, probably. How do you know that it is hard? Because you can touch it, right? That's just being sarcasm, right? Now, software is the programming part of computer, right? That is the operating system that is running behind the computer falls under the software version of computer. But let's take it one after the other. Talking about the hardware, you said the physical components that you can see, whether it is external or internal, it is hardware. As long as you can see it or we can touch it, it is an hardware. Now, we have what we call a motherboard or a system board. It's called motherboard because that is a board, right? An electronic circuit board, okay, that hosts so many components that make computer to function the way it is designed to function. And that's why they call it either motherboard or system board. It's an electric circuit board. And there are so many components on that thing that we cannot even unravel right now, but it's good for us to know that it is there. So that's the first component, which is the internal component of computer that we want to talk about. The next one is the central processing unit. That's what we call the CPU. It is called the brain of the computer. All right. It is the brain of the computer. Think about a human being that has a brain. It can do wonders, right? If something is wrong with that brain, something is wrong with that human being, and it is not hard to tell. So also, central processing unit, right, is this is the place where all information that is coming into the computer and that is going out of the computer through the VDU, visual display unit, is being processed. Okay, so when we think about the central processing unit, we are talking about speed, right? We are talking about the speed of processing the information and the speed of transmitting the information, because all the information that is being processed still need to be displayed. So the information comes into the computer through the input unit and goes out through the visual display unit as one of those output of the computer. So CPU it executes instruction and also helps to communicate with every part of or every component of the computer. So that's why we usually say that CPU is itself the computer, just the same way we can say the brain is you, right? Now, another component of hardware component of computer we want to talk about is the memory. Now, when we talk about memory, right, we're talking about ability to store information. Now, we have two types of memory. We have the RAM and also we have the ROM. RAM, random access memory. So that is very volatile. It only stores information. It doesn't have the capacity to withhold information for so long. It's just like a transient uh, part of the memory. It retains the information to display it, right? So if the CPU processes the information, the RAM carries the information and displays it in the visual display unit. So the only memory that it has is just to hold the information while it is being transmitted from the central processing unit to the display unit. Okay, so it is very volatile. It's not configured or made to hold information. So if there is any power interruption or something happened, the information in the RAM will go because it's not configured to save information on itself. It doesn't have that capability. Okay, so that is RAM. And RAM, the best way I've kind of conveyed to people is that RAM is the CPU's messenger. Okay, that is the one that carries the information that CPU processes and displays on the visual display unit, right? So now you're going to enjoy a very fast computer that as you're entering the information is displaying on the screen based on two major things. Number one, the speed at which the CPU is processing information, and also the speed at which the RAM is conveying or transmitting the information from the processing unit to the display unit. That's when you can enjoy a fast processing computer. Now, the second part of the memory is the ROM, read-only memory. As the name implies, you can only read, you cannot write into that memory. It's only there to store certain information, and it's already been programmed for the information that it stores. And the way you can actually interact with the ROM is when you turn on your computer from the cold state, right? Cold state means that when it's completely shut down, now you are putting it up, right? So few things will actually ensue for like 1 minute or less, 30 seconds, depending on how long it takes your computer to boot up. So before it actually boot up completely, you see some tags, the logo of the computer and some white text in a black or blue background that kind of flicker through your screen. These are information that the manufacturer of the computer already put in that computer. Okay, so that is read-only memory. There's nothing you're going to do about those information. The only people that have access to the ROM is the manufacturer of the computer. Okay, so very, very important. ROM is just there. Sometimes we call it BIOS, basic input output system, right? So that's just that. Now the third major component, or the fourth, right? Or the fifth, motherboard, the CPU, RAM, ROM. Now the next one is the hard drive. Hard drive is the main storage of the computer. Okay, and if you are very familiar with a filing cabinet, that's exactly how this hard drive behaves. Now, filing cabinet, no matter what, it has its own limited capacity, and it is there to host different folders. And in each folders, you have different files, right? Different documents in each folder. So that's the way a hard drive behaves. Now, if you have so many folders that have so many files in them, now you see that the capacity of the filing cabinet will quickly get filled up, right? So that's exactly how the hard drive behaves. So the workability or the usability of an hard drive is better when it have a lot of space, because when you're sourcing for information, probably you are looking for a file or folders on your computer, right? You want to quickly get to them like instantly, and you click that Word document or that Excel or PowerPoint, it comes up easily for you, right? The time it takes you to search for it. So this thing is called polling, Polling. Polling is the process that by which you search for information on your computer, right? Now, for a computer that have a very jam-packed, okay, hard drive, you find that it takes time for some files to open, okay, all because the hard drive is already exhausted its space. Think about a room that conveniently can host 10 people. You now put like 100 people there. So they now say you should identify somebody. It should be as if you are climbing upon upon the people to identify if it's ever, come true. So that being said, when you want to determine the uh, how fast a computer can work, the performance of a computer, right, is dependent on all these factors that we've talked about. There are so many other factors or component of computer, right? But these few ones that we talked about, like the CPU, the RAM, and also the hard drive, they are the main components of hard drive, okay, or I mean of computer. So the performance is dependent on the capacity of these things. If it has, so that's why if you want to go and buy a computer, for example, okay, the first thing you want to know is, okay, what do I want to use the computer for? Okay, if it's a computer that we want to use just for schoolwork, regular work, you really don't bother much about the processing speed. But now the CPU speed become an issue if you want to buy a computer that you want to use for editing video, or as you do, maybe like playing games on the internet and things like that. That would require a lot of memory capacity. So if you, depending on what you want to use the computer for, will determine what you're going to look for when you want to purchase that computer. And three things that you need to consider when you want to buy the computer after you've determined what you want to use the computer for is what's the speed of the CPU, what's the RAM that it has, and then what's the capacity of the hard drive. The capacity of the hard drive is determined by how much information that it can hold. 1 terabyte, 500 gigabytes, whichever bytes that you're looking for, is going to be very, very essential, right? So I'm going to skip. Okay, let me talk about it. How do you locate, okay, the information about your CPU, about your RAM, and also about your hard drive? If you go to your control panel, or the easiest way to get to it is that you see the search button. For those that are using Windows, right? Now, if you are using Mac, sorry, I may not be able to help you right now, right? But let me talk first about those that are using Windows. So if you are using Windows, I believe you can locate your start button, and close to that start button, you have the search button. You can click system, or yeah, system there. And once you type system there, it can take you to the control panel. And from the control panel, just look for where it says system. And then from that system, you'll be able to see the information about your processor, about the RAM that is installed, and the type of system that you have. So that's how you can locate your system information. Okay, but if you want to locate your hard drive, okay, that is even simple. If you click the folder icon on your computer, all hard drive, they are labeled as local disk C. Okay, if you right click on that thing called local disk C, go to the a bottom menu that shows as properties. Once you click on that, go to the tab that says general. There you will see the capacity of your hard drive, and then from there you can see what's the memory, free space and the used space that you have. So with that, when you add those together, it will be able to tell you the capacity of your hard drive. Okay, so this is just some of the practical ways of identifying or getting familiarized with the computer that you are using. And let's make this your first experience of knowing your computer. Just practice what I said. This video will be available for everyone that enroll for this class. And when you get the video, you can also share with your people. And also the video will come as a YouTube link. Okay, and then you can share that with your colleague and let them listen to it. This is a free webinar session, but the subsequent classes that we're going to be having will be restricted for only those that enroll in that class. All right, so let's proceed. Now we've talked about the hardware. We now go to the software. Now, I am very mindful of time. I know we have 6 minutes. And if you observe, I am rushing. I don't have intention of keeping us waiting for so long. But just spare me 10 minutes extra on top of the hour to compensate for the 10 minutes that we went for lunch, right? For break, right? Then I should be able to wrap up in the next 15 minutes. Is that okay by everyone? If you're okay with that, can I see a thumbs up? Or you say, right? Anybody? Thumbs up? 10 minutes? Okay, that thank you for that. All right, so it's only Dada that responded. So everybody, you are not well, not a problem. God is seeing all of us. All right, so let me proceed. Software. All right, so software, we're simply talking about the programs that run that make computer to function. It is not just all those components that make computer to function. We have some programs that make the communication easier. And that's what we call software. And when we think about software, I want us to think about three different things. Number one, we have what we call system software. These are operating system, the base system that is running on your computer, that is making your computer to work. For those using Windows computer, you probably have heard about Windows 10, Windows 11. These are operating system. Linux is another one, or maybe you have Mac also, right? I don't know what version or how Mac actually structure their own thing, but maybe Mac version 6 or something. So all these are system software. They are just like the baseline on which the computer works on. Now, the other types of software we want to talk about is the application software. The application software simply talks about the applications that function, that carry out certain tasks. If you want to read any PDF document, you need an Adobe, right? If you want to type anything in Word document, you need Microsoft Office. All these are different applications that is installed on the computer that makes computer to function the way it is expected to function. Okay, and we have so many of those applications out there. You want to chat with somebody, for example, you want to access your bank information, you have the bank app, right? This is application that make you carry out certain function on your system. Now, drivers, okay, these are the type of software. They are not really software, but they can still be thought about as software because they are the things that, because computer does not exist all by itself, it doesn't function all by itself, it doesn't carry out the tasks all by itself. it still needs to liaise and relate or connect with other things that we call peripherals, right? So these peripherals, right, they, for them to have what we call an handshake with the computer, their drivers needs to be installed on the computer. Think of a printer, for example. You need to either connect the printer uh, directly, right, to the computer, or you download the driver of the computer from the computer's manufacturer's website, or you have something like a dongle that is plugged into the computer. One way or the other, there must be a connection, wireless or wired, between the computer and that peripheral device. Okay, I'm using a wireless uh, headset, for example, and is connected to the computer one way or the other wirelessly. So it must have a driver that makes computer and that thing to kind of communicate and relate. So these are called driver. They are stored, it could be stored as a dongle or a cable connection, or one way or the other, having a relationship with the computer. All right, so that's that about that. We have so many of those software depending on the uh, system that you're thinking about. If you're talking about computer itself, okay, that's the Microsoft Office. I mean, the personal computer rather. They have operating system like Windows 10, Windows 11, or if it is Mac, yeah, they have those things. If you're talking about your phone, right? We have Android phone, you have um, iOS, Apple thing, right? Those are operating systems, okay, that we have out there. Okay, then also I know we're going to cover server in the subsequent topic, right? But when we talk about server, okay, they also have their own operating system. Okay, uh, server is identified by the year, but PC, that are Windows PC, they are identified, by numbers like Windows 10, Windows 11. But when you hear something like Windows 2019, they are talking about servers. Okay, that's very, very important for us to know. Okay, so that being said, we've kind of covered most of the things that we thought of talking about when it has to do with Introduction to Computer Technology Part 1. Our goal for this class was just to get ourselves very, very familiar with computer generally, okay, and feel at home about it, and you can play with it. At least you have a little bit of idea about this thing called computer, all right? So that is very, very important. Now we've concluded the presentation, but I want to talk to you about enrolling for the class. The training costs $2,000, and you have the opportunity of paying 1,000, okay, and then the remaining 1,000 on or before the sixth class of the um of the of the training, right? So, and next week, I'm going to be giving us the full details about how you're going to access multiple channel of information that we're going to be giving to you. So what you're going to be getting, what the value of your $2,000, we're going to be giving you the full gist on what it's going to be covering. I'm not sure if I have uh let me see if I have the bandwidth to quickly run through that with you right now. Okay, yes. Now, the training that you are paying for, our training, is perceived from two major perspectives. Number one, we have what we call the live online mentoring program, similar to what we are having right now, twice a week for these cohorts, right? That is what that is. That's the live online mentoring program. Because it is expedited and we are meeting twice a week, so we are going to be meeting 2 hours each time we meet. Now, the second aspect of our training is the online self-paced training. This is the platform where you have access to some training resources. We have over 21,000 resources, videos that you can be watching. You want to train on any certification, you want to train on anything, you want to learn more about server, you want to learn more about computer. If you don't have strong background in IT and you feel that 2 hours will not give you everything that you need, and which we also agree with you, 2 hours will not give you all the information that you need, guess what? We got your back. So you are not paying extra, okay? That's why our training is highly, highly discounted. You have access to these over 21,000 training. I talked to you about different cybersecurity certification like CISSP, for example. CISSP, right? You have tons of certification video training. At least it gives you about 61 result of training that is geared towards that certification. If it is CISA, for example, you have how many training now? Over 35 training videos that will give you information about that. And not only that, you don't know so much about computer and you now say, oh, I want to learn computer for new beginner, right? Or fundamental of computer. Let's start using this computer for new beginner. It gives you over 1,858. So which means you want to learn anything about computer, basic computer skills for productivity, so many of those. It is right here, and you're not paying extra for that because we value information that we are giving to you. So in some other places, you pay extra, but for us, we promote education and literacy, and just to give you an expedited way of getting there. Remember, this is a self-paced training that you have access to, okay? That means that you have a duty, a responsibility to make sure that you keep up with this learning. We give you the access. We also give you some suggested courses that you can, okay, go for there to expedite your, journey into the market. All right. So that will be what we're going to be doing. So now, how do you make payment? Okay. Now, to make a payment, send a message, right? If you do not know, but everyone will be getting an email how to make a payment. Make sure, okay, that you have made minimum payment of 1,000 on or before Saturday or maybe Sunday, before Monday, right? Make sure you make the payment so that we have the accurate number of people that will be coming that will be allowed into the class on Monday. The next meeting class is Monday, right? So just make sure you make your payment before that time. We collate your information. If you can also, if you make the payment, you can also send the screenshot to the number that will be given to you on that email that you'll be receiving in the next 24 hours. So with that, we have that one. Now, somebody asked, what's the 3 hours time frame on Saturdays. So the information that I display, that happens to be for the Saturday classes. The if we're going to run this thing for 8 weeks, we meet once a week, which is Saturdays, every Saturday for 8 weeks. But this class is one of those abbreviated version of that 8 weeks. So we still meet eight days, but we meet twice a week for 4 weeks. We're still going to cover the same curriculum as the 8 weeks, right? Because the information is well, tailored for each class. So that's what, if it is Saturday class, that will be 3 hours, but this is just Mondays and Thursdays. I hope I'm able to clarify that. Okay, so that's the information. I promise to take 10 extra minutes. I have 2 minutes. Anybody have any question about all these things that I talked about the training itself, about what you become? We talked about your destination and also what you need to get there, right? We elaborated more on your mindset as a requirement for how to get to where you need to get to, which is cybersecurity. We also talked about the cybersecurity itself as where you want to get to, what you need, what you will become when you acquire the skills. Now, let's journey together, right? Okay, acquire these skills together. Let me be the voice that guides you into that career. Okay, I will be the host and the facilitator for these 8 consecutive weeks. And then together, we are going to rock the world, right? Okay, I'll be looking forward to guiding every one of you. Just let me know, and then we'll be in touch with you. Okay, thank you all for listening, and thank you for your time. I know it's very valuable for you, and then we do not take that for granted, and we'll definitely do our best to uh, journey with you side by side on this journey. Okay. All right. Have a very wonderful night rest if it's night at your place. Okay. All right. Thank you.